Shalom, family, and all my friends. All praises to the Most High. Today we're going to talk about Earth before and after. Why am I doing this lesson? I have a bunch of critics, and this is how they think. Because I don't mention certain things in my lessons, they assume I don't know. I assume it's a brother, leave a comment, pretty derogatory. And basically what he was telling me was how much I did not know. And it's all because I didn't mention what he thinks he knows. So his comment was, you don't know what you're talking about. Our people was always in America. Well, that just shows how ignorant he is. Because our people were not always in America. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's get started. In the beginning, we had a earth that was represented as a Pangea or Pangea, however you wish to pronounce it. The left side of my screen is showing the way the continent was when the earth was created. If you'll notice, everything is connected. Here's what would be North America. Here's what would be South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, Australia, Eurasia, however you pronounce that. All one continent, all one huge mass of land that was called a supercontinent. Now, what happened from here to here? We're going to discover all of this in this lesson. So y'all buckle up your seatbelts. Let's go for a ride. This is before, this is after. Okay, what happened to cause this? I have another image while this was taking place. When did this happen? Well, let's look into it. So let's begin, shall we? To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg. For in his days the earth was divided. A lot of people, especially Christians, look over this. They don't see any significant meaning, but this holds a whole pot full of meaning. For in his days the earth was divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. The same phrase, for in his days the earth was divided, also appears in the repetition of this genealogical entry into 1 Chronicles chapter 1 and verse 19. Many find these genealogical lists boring to read. So they skip over the details and often miss this phrase. To the person that said, I don't know what I'm talking about, let's see if I know. Just because I don't tell you my name don't mean I don't know my name. So let's continue, shall we? So they skip over the details and often miss this phrase. However, there are some who get excited about this phrase and latch on to it, like me, suggesting that maybe this is where continental drift, which secular scientists have proposed, fits into the Bible. It seems odd that this little nugget should appear in this genealogy of Noah's three sons and their descendants after the flood. But does this phrase, for in his days the earth was divided, suggest that continents drifted apart in the days of Peleg as a result of the Creator dividing and separating the continents. I think that's pretty interesting, wouldn't you think? Let's keep going. Have the continents shifted? The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is strong support for the concept of plate movement. These earthquakes that we have, they are happening because of plate movement. In today's secular society, people have been taught as fact that the continents were once joined together in a supercontinent that split apart, and then the resultant continents drifted over the years into their present positions. Hallelujah. One primary piece of conclusive evidence usually presented to support this idea is the jigsaw puzzle fit of Europe and Africa, matching closely with the North and South America, respectively. If the North and South Atlantic Ocean basins are closed, these continents fit together at approximately the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a range of mountains on the ocean floor. Centrally located in the Atlantic Ocean basin. Let me, microphone is on. Okay. It was this reconstruction that led to the idea of the earlier supercontinent called Pangaea. The secular concept for this continental drift, now known as plate tectonics, goes further and suggests that there were supercontinents even earlier than the Pangaea, including Pannotia, and before that, Rodinia, encompassing the Earth's proposed multi-millennia year of geologic history. Creation scientists and flood geologists do not deny that these continents may have been connected to one another in the past as a single supercontinent in light of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 9. It was a Christian geologist named Antonio Snyder in 1859 who was the first person to publicly comment on this jigsaw puzzle fit of all the continents, except that he believed the spreading apart and separation of the continents occurred catastrophically during the Genesis flood. Now, that's what he believed. Actually, he was right. Creation scientists believe, along with their secular colleagues, that there is good observational evidence that is consistent with an original supercontinent in the past that was split apart, and that today's continents moved to their present positions on the Earth's surface. However, the main difference is the timing. Whereas our secular colleagues believe these processes were slow and gradual over millions of years, creation scientists insist it all took place by catastrophic means involving continental sprint rather than continental drift. However, many who see the specific mention of the earth being divided in the days of Peleg, as quoted from Genesis chapter 10, verse 25, appeal to this particular time for the biblical explanation for continental shifting. What happened in the days of Peleg? The context of Genesis chapter 10, a careful search of the context of Genesis chapter 10 and verse 25 clearly reveals that the division of the earth refers to the dividing up of the post-flood people on the basis of languages and families and moving them into different geographical locations. In fact, all of Genesis 10 is dedicated to dividing up Noah's family into its three major divisions based on Noah's three sons and their families, and then to further list the subfamily groups, because because these genealogical lists encompass all the people on the post-flood earth. The division referred to in verse 25 must have affected the entire post-flood human population. Several other verses dotted throughout Genesis chapter 10 indicate that it was these people who were being split up by language and moved across the earth to different geographical locations or lands. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 9. I brought these scriptures because I have them in different versions, because I want you to get a really good understanding of what happened here and what's going on. Genesis chapter 9, verse 9 says, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 9 says, and the Most High said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place. Now just imagine for a minute, all the waters on earth was gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. So all the waters was gathered into one place. Now the land is set in its one place, meaning it was all one mass of land. It was not divided. And I'm going to read it to you now in the New International Version, same chapter and verse. And the Most High said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. King James Version. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue. This explains why you go to a country outside of where you are, they speak a different language. You go to another country, they speak another language, and so forth and so forth. So, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Genesis chapter 10, verse 5 in the New Living Translation. Their descendants became the seafaring peoples that spread out to various lands. Do you know what seafaring is? These are people who move about on the ocean or the seas. Then sometimes you can refer to them as maritime. These descendants became the seafaring. Became is the key word here. They became seafaring peoples. These are your colonizers going out, searching out land that they can conquer. Their descendants became the seafaring people that spread out to various lands, each identified by his own language, clan, and national identity. Genesis chapter 10 in the New King James Version. From these, the coastland peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. Genesis chapter 10 in the New Century Version. Those who lived in the lands around the Mediterranean Sea came from these sons of Japheth. Japheth is not good. It is not Israel. It is not us. All the families grew and became different nations, each nation with its own land and its own language. Descended from Noah. These are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah, or Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim. Let me correct that. Kittim, let me correct this, and Dodanim. From these, the coastland people spread in their lands, each with his own language, by their clans in their nations. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabata, Rama, and Sabtika. The sons of Rama, Sheba, Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Most High. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, or Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, that is the great city. Egypt fathered Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphthuim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came. Capthruhim and Captorim. Sorry. Man, I made a lot of typos in here. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the clans of the Canaanites dispersed, and the territory of Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also, the father of all children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The sons, man, I really messed up. The sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Apraxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Apraxad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg. This is a key figure. For in his days, y'all listen close. For in Peleg's days, the earth was divided. We're going to get down to what that means in just a minute. But the earth was divided in Peleg's days. And his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Almodad, Sheleph, Hazar-Mavath, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dilgli, and Obal, Abimael, Sheba, and Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and their languages, their lands and their nations. These are the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies, in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. These were families of the sons of Noah, according to the generations, in their nations, and from these nations were divided on the earth after the flood. So what's happening here? The Most High shook the earth during the days of Peleg, and it caused such a quake that the continents broke apart. So North and South America floated westward, or northwest and west. And the other nations, or the other land masses, they broke apart and spread east and other directions, separating all these land masses from their original place, which was at one time Ethiopia. So to the person that said, I don't know what I'm talking about, and that our people was always in America, no, sir. Because that land was a part of Ethiopia. So we weren't always in America. We were always in Ethiopia. Now, that part that separated and went west and became, from the colonizers, the Americas, was named after Amerigos Vespucci. He named it after himself. That's where you got the name America. Just because I don't mention something don't mean I don't know. I don't do this because my internet is limited and nobody is paying me. So when you come to my channel to criticize me, you need to really think before you do. I have to budget my internet. So that means if I brought everything that I knew, I would never be able to afford to give you the lessons that I do. So for your information, America has not always been America. And yes, our people was on that land when it got separated. So how much do you know? But that land, along with all the other land masses that broke apart when Peleg's days, was all one super continent called Ethiopia. The reason our people was considered already in America is because they were already in that part of the land when the separation happened to the continent. But it was not America until the heathens arrived and named it America. Africa is not the true name of Africa. It is originally Ethiopia. Who named Africa Africa? Well, Africanus, Leo Scipius Africanus. Write that name down. Leo Scipius Africanus. That's who conquered and named this land after himself. So don't assume that because I don't teach a certain thing that I don't know. I have a budget and you don't pay for it, whoever you are. So now I hope the people understand how these lands occurred and how come there are so many different countries with so many different languages. It came from one huge landmass called the supercontinent, Ethiopia. Shalom, family. Remember, the Sabbath is Sunday. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.